All right, everybody, welcome to Captain's Log podcast, the show that is everything aviation and more. I'm your host, Richard Tolo, Jamaican Bacon. I'm here alone today. Today we have another special guest for our show. So our guest have worked in this industry. He's moved up the ranks throughout the years. He's a previous regional airline pilot. He flew for Mesa Airline. We'll get into that. We'll talk about what that is. Currently, he works for International Airline, flying the beautiful, sexy Boeing 777 or 777. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Parrish Watkins. Hopefully, I said that correctly. How you doing, man?
Good. Yeah, you said it perfect. Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And I've been following you for a little bit now in your podcast. I like what you're doing, and I'm glad that you could have me on today.
Awesome, man. What Parrish Watkins? What is that? Is that like is that Caribbean or anything like that?
I don't know. There was some origin somewhere in in Europe, I think England area or whatever. I'm not
really sure.
I'm not too sure.
Yeah. My name.
Somewhere down the line.
So Richard Tolo, my last name. Apparently, it's I thought it was French for a long time, but apparently it's like Scottish or some crap like that. Don't ask me why. So, see, Parrish has been in the industry for a long time. He has some good experience, the good and bad. We can talk about that as we move forward here. He's been at the regionals. He's went through the regional. I believe he's been furloughed. So we'll be able to get some good insight, some good information from Parrish as we move forward in the podcast. So.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your captain speaking. Apply heading 230, runway 27 left. Clear for takeoff. Turn right heading 060. Descend and maintain 5,000.
Move forward here, Parrish. So you live in Seattle? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I'm right now. At the current time, I'm in Seattle, Washington. I've been moving around a lot, but I'm originally from Los Angeles, California, born and raised Cali boy. But I've been moving around quite a bit, and I kind of doubt Seattle's gonna be my last stop. I don't know, just kind of, following my career.
Okay.
Where it's got me going and whatnot. But yeah, right now currently in Seattle, Washington.
Oh, so you're from California, huh? Where'd you go to flight school? I'm curious.
So I started flying at a pretty young age. I got my first flight lesson at 13, and of course,
wow.
At 13 you can't do much at 13. So my dad he took me. I used to go once a month, go up for an hour or two, with an instructor, just kind of, keep the dream alive as a kid, nourish the dream and whatnot. And then finally, I got my license from this very same flight school out of a flight school in a Pomona, California airport called Brackett Airport. At a flight school that no longer exists called Runway 37, which you think about it, Runway 37. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So I got my license. I got my license there, and then did a little bit of my private did some work towards my instrument. The one day decided to go all in and did the rest of my training at all ATPs.
Oh, okay.
Out of Riverside.
So you knew you wanted to be a pilot from a very young age.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was something I liked as a kid. There's no one in my family that is a pilot or has any type of aviation background whatsoever. So I went on my first airplane ride. I think I was maybe 8 or 9 years old.
Wow.
And if I remember correctly, it was on United Airlines 737 between LA and San Fran, and I kind of just fell in love with it there. And one day, told my dad I wanted to be a pilot, and he was, thank God he was, he saw the glimmer in my eye and decided to nourish that dream. And here I am, all these years later. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't figure out that I didn't figure mine out until I was literally 21. Yeah, it was during my deployment when I was in Iraq, and we were on an Air Force base, Camp Anaconda, Balad, and they had I don't know, maybe it's F-16s. I don't freaking know what it is. But they also had like the the C-130s or whatever coming in, and they were low because they had to do that. They had to do the technical approaches or whatever. But I thought it was really fascinating. I was like, man, how the hell are they able to fly so slow? This huge ass, plane. So I remember I went to the internet cafe and and Googled how does a plane fly just to figure it out, and that's how I got hooked. So.
Oh man.
But I wish I had known when I was I wish I'd figured it out when I was younger. Like most people do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Are you did you ever become a CFI or did you figure that?
I did that all ATP's program. This is back when they used to have the 90-day program, and it took you from your if you already had your pilot, got all your ratings, your multi and single engine stuff and your CFI stuff. So always, I went all the way through there. I got the rating, but I decided to, and to this day, I don't even know like where I even applied for the job. But I got a call, I got an offer. I guess I submitted a resume, and I don't remember which side it was, but to fly skydivers up in Cloverdale, California. Yeah, so I moved to the North Bay area, and I flew skydivers there in an old 182, I think like 1959 with the straight tail. One of the old straight tail Cessna 182s, and it had like an engine that was on steroids, and so that's how I got my my flight.
So that's how you build your hours on doing the dropping skydivers, huh? Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I was able to do that. I only had to do that for about 6 months, which is I know a lot of people they instruct for years before they get a flight time, but I did it for like 6 months. And I was lucky enough to get picked up by Mesa.
Oh, okay.
Right after that.
Well, what year was that when you got picked up by Mesa? I'm curious.
Wow. So higher date was May 8th, 2007.
2007. Wow. Yeah. Man, you've been around a long time. I got. Yeah, man. I didn't get my first regional job until 2013, early 2014. So you've been around. What did you fly? I'm curious.
So I flew the Embraer 145.
Oh, it was back when they had the 145. Okay.
Yeah, I'm dating myself there.
Yeah, man. How was it? Like interesting. So, 2007. So when I did my interview with Envoy, they were just really restarting the hiring process again, and it was after. Obviously, it was after the market crashed or whatever, so they're really starting to pick it back up. But it was still relatively difficult, like the interview process. So, 2007, I'm curious, like, how was your interview process, and how was, what was the process to get on with that, with Mesa?
So, 2007, so it was a little bit different than what you got now. But I could imagine they do the same thing. It's been a while since I've done some interviewing.
Yeah.
So, So it was basically there's a typical HR. Then you had like a technical interview, you had a written test, like basic IFR, questions and whatnot. And then it came to like a one-on-one like technical interview. They ask you, so tell me about the airplane you flew and gross weight, and all that stuff. I guess pretty much to test your aeronautical knowledge and see what you remember and how much you studied. But it was a 1-day process. I was maybe in there interview. Started around 8. I was probably gone around noontime, and got the job offer right on the spot.
Oh, really? So they told you right away? You're good.
Yeah. This is back when before pre-market crash, when airlines were hiring like crazy, and still 860, and they were just desperate for pilots. So if they could offer you a job, as soon as they could, as soon as the interview was over, they would offer it to you because they were just hurting for pilots. I mean, I got hired at 550 hours total time. And I had some people in my class that were even hired at like 300 hours total time. I mean, it was this is back in the days before the new regulations. But yeah, they were hurting from pilots and they were offering jobs on the spot.
Yeah, talking about the new regulations. So people, just in case the non-aviation people. So now you're required to have at least a minimum of 1,500 hours before you can even get to the regionals. And there's some exceptions for military, people with a college degree and whatnot. But keep it simple, 1,500 hours, and there's a minimum, a few things in there you need the requirement to complete that. But back in those days, you can get on. I mean, there were people were getting on like at 250 hours or whatever, some crap like that, sitting in the right seat, second in command. You couldn't be a captain until like what was it like back then? It's like, so could you be a captain? What was the minimum hours to become a captain?
So if I remember correctly, so each airline, they have their own requirements, and I know that you can use like your like your experience in the right seat. I think 50% of your SIC time. I don't necessarily don't remember.
Oh, okay.
But it depended on the if you get your FAA minimums and how much your SIC 120 time and all. Don't quote me on any of that.
Yeah.
But from my point where I got hired on 550 hours, you're looking at an upgrade probably about 2 years.
Oh, okay.
2-year upgrade at that time. Yeah.
So how was Mesa back then? I'm interested. How was that? How was that company?
It's kind of like the whole thing, and it's like, when you go in for an interview, don't say anything bad about your previous airline.
That's true. I agree.
My thing I've always said, and I've counseled people, especially on the regionals, you get your time and you get out. The regionals are good for getting to it's just a segue. It's a transition period to get into where you want to get to, right?
Yeah.
So Mesa was exactly that. It gave me the hours I needed, and it set me up. Because you got way 2008 happened with the market crash, and then like soon after the regulations were changing, and so it gave me the flight time I needed so I could get my ATP, so that when I came back into the industry, I was able to able to get on without any any hiccups or anything. But no, it gave me a good experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
how long were you there for?
It was difficult.
Okay.
And I was there May 2007 to August 2010. A little over 3 years.
Yeah. So what happened with that? Did you get? So that was 2010. So that was after the market crashed. Yeah. Okay. So I guess we can figure out what happened there.
Yeah. So Mesa started laying off, and then a couple of setbacks. They took Delta getting, because we used to fly the 145s for Delta.
Oh, okay.
And Delta pulling those 50. Yeah, Delta pulled those 50-seater jets from us, and they required us to start furloughing. And I remember when they started furloughing, I was already pretty senior on the FO list, and I remember a good friend of mine, I used to joke with him. I was like, yeah, only way I'll get furloughed is if it's displacement of biblical proportions or whatever, And then lo and behold, the very last class they furloughed was mine.
Oh, really?
So I ended up furloughed. Yeah. So finally, the chop. I ended up on the chopping block in 2010. Yeah.
2010. Okay. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll talk about Mesa. I'm not gonna say bad about Mesa either. I'm gonna keep it real. But if you want to kind of explain for those people who don't know, they're probably like, what is Mesa, right? Because a lot of the non-aviation people, they fly American Airline, Delta Airline, United Airline and whatnot. Like, we never heard of Mesa Airline. So Mesa Airline is a lot of the airlines do subcontracting. They subcontract a smaller airline system to do the small flying for them, or the cheaper flying for them, or whatever you can say that. So a lot of times you're flying, if you're on those little small planes going from Dallas to what's a little small city in Texas? Abilene, yeah, exactly. Like exactly, Dallas to Abilene. It might have like an American Airline or most like American Airline scheme on there, but it's probably not American Airline. Just keep it simple as that. So that's what Mesa did. They did subcontracting work for those larger airlines. So we call those regionals. So 2010, you were furloughed, and so what happened after that? How'd that work out for you?
Yeah, so I ended up getting furloughed, and again, nobody in the industry was hiring at the time.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a plan B. My plan A, B, C, and D was all aviation, and aviation at that time nasty hit, and so like I didn't have a plan B to go to, and so I kind of thought I had some money saved up, and I kind of thought, I was like, do something radical. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna, try something that only I can do at this point in time in my career, which at that point was pretty much, stagnant, was on hold. So I ended up moving to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
That's interesting. So how'd that happen? I'm curious. Like, did somebody convince you to drag your ass down to Brazil? Or you're like, I'm just gonna go to Brazil.
So January 2010, I went there for Carnival there, right? I went with a friend of mine
Oh,
who's also a pilot. He was in my new hire class, and we went down there, and I had such a great time. You know, I mean, like I traveled before internationally,
yeah,
but there I just had an awesome time. You know, and I remember saying to myself, you know, like if I had the opportunity, I'd live here.
yeah.
And sure enough,
So you
the
live there?
opportunity presented itself.
Oh man, nice. How long were you there for? How long did you stay in Brazil?
So I was there for about a total of 3 years,
Oh
more or less.
man, you were there.
3 years. I was there for about 2 years. Left back in the States for about a year or so. Then went back for another year to Brazil, and then I finally came back here for good.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
What are some of the foods in
Yeah.
Brazil? Like, what do they eat there? I'm curious. What is
So a lot of it's not very different from like Caribbean food. You know what I mean? You know,
rice and peas?
it's
Huh?
it's a lot. Yeah, rice and beans and chicken and all all type of pig and
Yeah, man.
it's yeah, it's not very different from Caribbean food. It's not a lot of spicing anything.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
you won't unless you're like in the north of Brazil. They got some spicy foods and whatnot, but not a whole lot of spice or anything. But it's good though. You know, and it's they got something called acai, which is kind of like a smoothie, or not even say smoothie, like kind of like a dessert drink. That's really really popular there.
Asahi.
But yeah, acai. So it's A with the little C with the tail, which makes a double S
Oh,
sound.
okay.
Acai. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool, man.
Like,
Oh, awesome. So Brazil, man, is like I've heard that was in 2010. Like now,
mhm.
I've heard, I've been told that, man, if you can go to Brazil, you better make sure you have somebody with you that knows the
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, what's your experience with
Oh,
that?
yeah. Brazil is rough. I've actually been fortunate enough not to be robbed there. I've gone there like when my first carnival there. We went with one of her flight attendants, and she ended up getting robbed. She got her her little she got her camera stolen, and someone stole her camera right off the beach. And I think it was actually a guy that was like selling like glasses on the beach. Got her camera stolen, and I've had friends like my old ex boss who was from South Africa. I mean, big white guy, blonde hair, blue eyes.
Yeah.
He stuck out like a sore thumb. He told me he got robbed 3 times in about 2 city blocks. You know what I mean? Like, and Copacabana, yeah, a guy rolled up, like, give me everything you got. He walked down the block. Another guy pulls up, like, give me everything you
Oh
got.
no.
It's yeah, I've heard, I've had friends that got robbed, cell phones stolen, and all types of stuff. But I was actually always fortunate. People say that I look Brazilian. Maybe that kind of kept me, below the radar.
That's probably, yeah. I can concur with that. Yeah, that makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. Yeah, there's a video on YouTube that I saw. As I was doing some research on Brazil, because Brazil has some beautiful women. So that I admit it. That's why I was on YouTube. I was looking at that. I'm not gonna pretend, but there's a video on there, a couple of videos, and it shows it was a bunch of kids, and they would just, it's crazy. They'll sneak up behind you and they grab your wallets or whatever you had and just take off running, and there's nothing you can do about it. And it's like a organized system, that happens all the time.
Yeah, they're called the term they call are pivetes, but they're like they're street kids. And yeah, a lot of times even like their own parents, or there'll be somebody like a boss, like their boss, that uses these kids to to steal steal stuff. So like, for example, like they're at the beach somewhere, they'll be out in a group, and the guy said, "Yeah, you see that couple over there? You see that guy over there, that gringo or whatever?
Yeah.
Go over there, sneak up behind him and get his steal his wallet or whatever." And yeah, like you said, you won't even catch them. They got like superpowers.
Oh man,
I mean,
yeah.
you ever seen like a 4x1 relay team? I mean, they'd take a wallet and like stick, they're passing on to the next.
Yeah,
I mean,
man.
they're
Yeah, exactly.
you're not catching them.
Well organized. Yeah, that's crazy.
And if you do catch them, which is probably even worse, the boss is nearby looking, and if he shows up,
Oh, okay.
you can be in bad shape. I had a guy, actually a friend of a friend. He was actually during Carnival at this place called Lapa, which is like where they have like an area full of clubs and bars where the arches are. I don't know if you've seen them. And he was videotaping. He was videotaping these like the samba group, these guys playing instruments, and he had a cell phone out, which is the stupidest move you could fake. Big crowd, and some guy reached up and grabbed his cell phone. Well, the guy he noticed that he was holding on to trying to hold on to his phone, and there was a struggle. and all of a sudden somebody came out of nowhere and just gave him a sock and busted his eye wide
Oh,
open,
no.
took his cell phone, and he's bleeding all over the place. Yeah, he got pretty jacked up.
So they're stealing. I mean, it's okay. They're stealing the cell phones, even today, and obviously they're taking iPhones and whatnot. And today's, even today you can't get into the iPhones, but they're taking all that stuff from everybody that goes there. Who are they selling it to?
Yeah.
Like where is he going?
A lot of times it's sadly enough they use it to buy drugs. Sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes they might resell it. But a lot of times it's to buy drugs. There's still a lot of these things. They go out and they go to the dope, the local dope man, and they say, "Hey, I got this, this iPhone here. How much can you get? What can you give me for it?" And they'll get their, they'll get their drugs, they'll get their fix. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much,
okay.
Pretty much it. Yeah, it's really sad.
So you should meet somebody in Brazil that you, a beautiful Brazilian. I don't know. How do you say that? I'm assuming they got married. Shoot, I probably would have gotten married too.
Yeah. So Brazil, that is, yeah. So yeah, I did. Yes, the women in Brazil are actually very beautiful. Probably some of the most beautiful I've ever seen in my life. Now, Brazilians in general are beautiful, but the cariocas, which is the term they use for the people from Rio de Janeiro, I would probably say are the most prettiest of them all. And a lot of it also has to do with the fact that it's a beach city, so they work out a lot. They take care of themselves because they're very much they're very much sun worshippers.
Sun worshiper, like the actual sun.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they're not actually worshiping the sun like they see as a god, but in the sense that not in the sense that like they love to go to the beach.
Oh, okay.
And hang out.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So you were 3 years, and okay, cool. And then you came back to the U.S. after 3 years and trying to pursue your career, or what? What happened after that?
Yeah, so after the first 2 years, I actually came back and got a job at Shuttle America back in the days. But I was only there for just maybe about 9 months or so.
Shuttle America.
Yeah, Shuttle America. They were part of Republic.
Oh, okay.
I remember back in the days, it used to be Republic, Shuttle America, and Chautauqua.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then they all merged into one entity, which is Republic Airline.
Oh, okay.
So I was there for a short time, and then I left there and went back to Brazil. After leaving there, I was there. Like I said, I was there for very long. I was commuting based in Indianapolis, and I was actually, this is back in the days when first year pay was still pretty low.
Yeah.
And it was just not, I was actually losing money being on reserve and working there than actually making money.
Talking about that, if you don't mind, going back to Mesa real quick.
Sure.
I'm curious. If you don't mind,
sure.
disclosing, what were you getting paid your first year as a FO at Mesa?
$22 an hour.
$22 an hour.
Yeah.
Which came out to maybe $18K a year or something like that.
Yeah. I think in my first year there, I think I maybe did 22 or 23,000 a year.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it's rough. You see, like these young, when you came in with the new pay rates, right? What was your first year when you started at Envoy?
My first year was at I think it was 34, I think, something like that.
Yeah. See, you new guys to the game will never know the struggle.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I was able to. Yeah, I was able to.
$2 an hour.
Luckily, and then the second year you went up to, I think you got a $10 increase right away. Your second year, I was making 40, whatever it is, 45, whatever an hour. But yeah, I think so. That's what it was, 34. But it was definitely not, what is known to be. It was definitely higher. They had just they were still going through negotiation at the point when I went there, and it was really a bad time. But I think the pay was relatively better. So, but I've heard of people, man, back in the days. I spoke to a bunch of captains and whatnot, or FOs, prior to my time, and they were making, I think one guy said they made like 19.5 a year.
Yeah, it was at first year, even in anything as an FO really back in those days. I mean, you had to upgrade it, not just because you wanted flight time. You upgraded because you wanted to survive.
Yeah,
You're like, man, I need to survive. I'm getting in debt. I can't live. Like I need to, and I need to go. I need to upgrade. So you're in that upgrade check ride, sweating. You're like, oh, I need to live.
Yeah,
You know,
man.
it's like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, got to pass so I can survive.
Yeah.
You know.
That's crazy. All right. All right. Anyways, so yeah. Okay. So you left. Was it? You said air shuttle? Is that what it was? And then
Shuttle America.
what
Yeah.
were you flying there?
I was flying the 170, 175 Embraers.
The 175.
The E-Jet.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
171.
that was in 2000.
Uh-huh.
What year was that?
That was 2000. I got to think about it. Then they came back and took. That was, I think it was 2013.
It makes sense. I mean, it was Republic.
Yeah, 2013. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about 2000. Yeah, it was winter 2013.
Okay.
I think January, February. Yeah.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yep.
So you yes, you're in the right seat in the or FO, a right seat in the 175. Okay.
Yeah.
Man, those planes, 2013, has been around for a while. Okay.
Yeah, no, I remember they had them when I was actually. I think they had just got them when I was when I got hired at Mesa. A buddy of mine, when I got hired right after I did at Mesa, he actually jumped ship and went to Compass and flew them there in 2008.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Yeah, they've been around a while.
A long ass time.
Yeah.
The hell. Cool.
Yeah, I know, right?
And then so this is now if you go into the I don't know about now 2021. The regional is relatively better now. I mean, now you fly, you're jumping into the 175 is kind of the standard regional aircraft now. I mean, a few airlines still flying the CRJs and Envoy. You're still flying the 145, but I think they're trying to get rid of them, send them to I think it's Piedmont or something like that. But the regionals now, man, are the standards are relatively higher. Like now, you can get on on the 175, which is almost a mainline aircraft. Very sophisticated and whatnot. And then you went to when did you get on with GoJet? Oh, that happened.
I got hired when I came back. I got hired at GoJet in January 2015. Yeah, January 2015 is when I got hired on GoJet. And talking about my experience I got in that Mesa, which is the majority of it, it set me up perfectly that I was in the left seat 6 months in after I got hired. So I was only in a right seat at GoJet for 6 months before I moved into the left seat.
Oh, okay. So you were able to.
I was captain there.
Oh, awesome,
Yeah.
man. Yeah. So how was that? How was the training, by the way?
So it's as far as like all three airlines, or are you talking about just in GoJet in general?
Yeah, let's go back to. I'm gonna jump around, but yeah, let's do. I want to quick because I'm curious about Mesa in 2007.
Sure.
Like, how was the training there? Like, how was that?
I will actually say that the training at Mesa was actually better, probably than hold on to your hats, probably than any other airline I had been at so far.
Believe it or not, I actually believe you. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was their training department was. I mean, it was really good. I mean, our ground school guy, our NDOT guy, our systems guy was a mechanic. He knew the airplane inside out. You learned about the airplane. You weren't. It wasn't always a checking event like I'm kind of where I'm at now. Everything is a checking event. They check. They don't teach. You're supposed to know everything already apparently.
Yeah.
But at Mesa you actually learned the all the way to fixed based learning the flight deck to actually flying the sim, and even on to the IOE, initial operating experience, actually flying the airplane was actually really decent. At the time I couldn't compare it to anything because that was my first experience, but going through for example Republic and say GoJet, all their training is outsourced to flight safety.
Oh, whoa! I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What?
I think the NDOC you would get with the actual company itself, with that airline itself. Anything after that was all outsourced to flight safety.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
that's just being
and that's how they did it. A lot of these guys, they'd rather pay someone else to do it than do it themselves. But Mesa, everything was done in house. Every instructor you had was a Mesa employee. None of this, the outsourcing to contractors, any of that stuff.
Yeah. You mentioned.
So you learn.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that. So you learned everything the Mesa way from start to finish. versus like, I'll give you a perfect example. Like when I was at a shuttle, you're going through the ground school or even the sims. You've had instructors that were working at, on the Republic side or whatever other airlines that fly 170s, because so then it would be a lot of bleed over. Your instructor tell you something that wasn't actually from your SOP, it's from another airline. So there'd be a lot of confusion sometimes.
Yeah.
Going through training as to, what is right and wrong, because your instructor worked for 3 or 4 different
And
airlines.
this is you're talking about when they outsource it to flight safety. So your flight safety instructor,
Yeah.
because other companies outsource as well. He's basically he has to learn all the procedures and manuals from all those other airlines. So then when you show up from a GoJet, he gets all confused because he doesn't know who the hell you fly for, or maybe he does, but he gets all the damn manuals mixed up, and the flows and all that stuff, which is ridiculous.
Exactly.
Which is
yeah,
interesting. So you mentioned operational experience, OE. Like you might explain what that is to like those non-airline people, what that would consist of.
Yeah, so the OE is your final step in your training. You've done all the written tests, you've done the ground schools, you've done all the simulator flying. You've done your check ride with the company check airmen. You've now been you've been blessed to go out on the line. So now you know how to fly the airplane. You're just going to go out with the check airmen and actually fly the airplane with actual live with actual passengers, full flight crew, and everything. So then at that point you're going to fly the airplane. Everything that you learned in the sim, you're now going to apply it into real world. And not only are you actually learning applying what you learned in the sim to flying the actual aircraft, manipulate the controls itself. Now you got to learn how to deal with the environment around you, dealing with flight attendants, dealing with whoever else, with the operation as a whole. So it's supposed to be a teaching event, but there's some people that actually don't make it through because they can't fly the airplane, or just somehow they just can't seem to to get it.
Yeah, which is
so it's the final stage of your of your training, and you can, they say you can breathe a sigh of relief after the simulator, but it's more so on the OE, because you can, if you don't do well, and there's been stories, even at my current company or even other places I've been to, that guys, they can't make it, they can't fly the airplane, they can't operate in the airplane in the environment, in
the real world,
in the airport, or
yeah. It's a good it's kind of important. Yeah, good point. Because now you're typed, you're fully trained within that controlled environment, because it's really what it is. Everything is controlled. And then now because remember, they can't teach you everything. They can't teach everything in the classroom and the simulator.
Right.
It's just not possible. There's not enough time. So then you go out in the real world, and everything's just thrown at you, and they can't teach everything in the real world either. So you just got to take it as it comes. So you go out there, and all of a sudden you got to learn, these, you go through Chicago or whatever. Chicago, you got to learn all these random frequencies, and you got to talk to different 2, 3, 4 people at the same time, and you got flight attendants talking to you, and all these things, and you still got to fly the plane and weather and all this, all these things. And then if you're a captain, you got to be able to control all that environment as a captain.
Right.
So yeah, as a first officer, when I was going through OE, I was in Chicago, and oh my God, it is not. I learned to respect airline pilots within my first day of OE. I mean, it is not. Well, now it is because I'm experienced, but back when I first started, it was not an easy task, man. I mean, we took off, and I think we went to Blueberg, Illinois, whatever it is, and we landed, and I was still back in O'Hare trying to figure out what the hell's going on. It was just so much going on, man. And the captain looked over him like, you can tell I was completely overwhelmed. He's like, "It's all right, man. We're good. We're here."
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good point, because you get through all your training, the sim and everything. You're happy, and you go through that phase, and then you don't make it. You get slashed and get sent home. So. Oh yeah, especially as a captain, you're in control of all that stuff. So how was it? Upgrading, becoming a captain as you move forward in GoJet?
It was a pleasant experience. It was a lot of work, a lot of stuff that you didn't think about in the right seat. Now you got to think about in the left seat. You're now responsible for the moving the operation, and hopefully they say if you're in the right seat, you're a captain in training. Hopefully, if you were in the right seat, you were paying attention, to what was going on in the left seat, because the more you were paying attention, the better you did, when you moved over to the left. But as far as the upgrade, I mean, I got the whole deal. I got my money's worth. I remember after passing the check ride, because the check ride's a check ride. If you've done one, you've pretty much done them all nowadays.
Yep.
There's always something single engine, and they're pretty much cookie cutters. The only thing that changes is the airplane, right?
Yeah.
So, but when I finally got online, I upgraded purposely in the wintertime. And everybody, they were like, "Oh, I'm not upgrading in the winter. That's a lot. That's a lot. You got to deal with the snow and cold weather, etc." But I wanted it though. I was like, I need the experience. I want to get it early, so when next winter does roll around, it's not the first time seeing it, from the in the left seat.
Yeah.
But I got full on snowstorms. I remember I had to get a follow me truck in Denver, because it's just that you couldn't. I mean, the taxiways were just full of snow.
You couldn't see.
And it just and having to deal with all that and then deal with the delays and going around. I mean, I definitely got my money's worth during the upgrade, and I had requested these two Czech airmen that I knew were pretty solid guys, and they gave me a lot of good information. Yeah. So when I finished IOE, I kind of didn't feel like I was like, okay, now what? I had some experience, but I'll tell you what though, there's a saying goes that you see everything for the first time in the first 100 hours as a captain.
Yeah,
that's very true. I saw a lot of things I'd never seen in my aviation career, and now I got to deal with it. I'm the buck stops with me. So it's it was eventful, but definitely a pleasurable experience. I learned a lot.
What was for you? Because after a while, everything becomes easy. But what was I want to say most difficult, but I'll use that word. Thing you had to do as a captain. What's the most thing you find more difficult, or some of the process when you were a captain? What are some of the things you thought was that was freaking tough or whatever?
You know what a lot of it is. It's as a captain, especially I flew mostly in the Midwest and the East Coast.
Yeah,
that's where my routes were. It's wintertime, dealing with delays, weather delays, dealing with diversions. You take off, you're going somewhere, and then all of a sudden, between your, where you are and your destination, there's a line of thunderstorms. Or maybe when you finally get to the airport, and then boom, the airport is, it's under a ground stop. Now you got to go hold somewhere, and then you got to calculate, how much fuel, how long you can hold, and where you're gonna go, if you got to divert,
Yeah.
So a lot of that, it's. One thing I found is when you go into the left seat, it's all about decision making. It's no longer about flying the airplane anymore. It's all decision making. Are you going to make the right decision? And how well are you, using the resources, using the guy sitting next to you in the right seat, all of that. So it's delegation and decision making, and when you get these, I found this more so when wintertime, weather delays, ground stops, do I need a DI? Should I DI? Should I go back? A lot of that stuff.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was. I've been told by a passenger before in Chicago as a captain, because so we're coming from somewhere. I forgot we were in Chicago, and it was weather everywhere. And crap was crazy, and we were very delayed coming in. And how things gets crazy in Chicago and Dallas when weather goes through for some reason. It's as if every day is the first day. But anyways, so we landed and we were sitting. We were sitting in Chicago in the, what do you call those? The freaking box, because our gate was occupied. So those people were wanting to get on our plane to go wherever they were going. They were waiting on the plane for hours. But anyways, we finally got in and whatnot and parked, and we rolled up, and we're walking in, and everybody's clapping because if the crew finally shows up or whatever. Literally, everybody's clapping at the gate. So I walked in and we sat down, and another small storm came through. It was lightning. So we got ground stop, just enough for us to time out. So then we got out of the plane. We time out. We got out of the plane and we walked back. We walked back to the gate. We got out, and there was a guy that was standing in the front, and he was the main guy that was clapping. And he's like, what's going on? did we cancel? I was like, no, we didn't cancel, but there's gonna be a new crew coming in. And he was like, oh, like he said this to me. He's like, you son of a bitch. Honestly, I'm the captain walking out. He's like, I'm gonna sue you. I'm gonna sue American Airline. This is bullshit, dude. It got bad. Yeah, like people can get nasty as hell. Yeah. So I was like, I need to get the hell. The entire airport was crowded of people getting delayed or whatnot. So I was like, I need to get the hell out of here before I get freaking attacked.
It's bad. Sometimes like that's all you can do is just get out. Like I remember one time we were going to Chicago or somewhere, and the airport shut down. We had to divert to, I think it was Green Bay, and we weren't their first airplane to divert there. And luckily, we were there to, we were able to get a gate. We didn't have to wait. And I remember we deplaned, and we walked off the airplane, and the terminal was full. There wasn't a gate agent in sight. People are looking around. They're upset, and it's just like you just walk off the airplane. Focus on that.
Man. Yeah.
Get the exit of sight.
Get the hell out of there.
Just get out, and you feel bad for the people, and it's just like it's not their fault, but stuff like this happen, and we try to move the metal, to get the people where they need to be, but under these delays and these weather events and whatnot, it's
man.
You can only do so much before you kind of just like sorry, folks.
Nothing we can do.
Yeah. So we've turned into, we turned back into pumpkins, and we can't help you.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool, man, cool. So, so when did you get out of the regional? Like, what year you finally get on? You were able to move on.
So I finally got out of the regional game in 2017. So like my buddy of mine, he calls it the regional rat race, is what he called it, because that's pretty much what it is. You're in the regionals, and because you're getting your time and you want to get out. And that's what I really recommend for anybody. It's like, you're in the regionals, like, get out. Don't hang out. Don't get complacent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you never know. Like, people that have hung out at the regionals, and then this whole COVID thing started, and a lot of these regional airlines that were here are no longer there anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, so my thing is, as soon as I got the opportunity to get out, and I knew I was going to somewhere decent, I got out. So I left in October 2017, didn't even look back.
Yeah, man. We'll move on to that. Yeah. We'll move on to that in a second here. I want to ask you a quick question. So, what are some of the things you because unfortunately for anybody going into the aviation business, aviation industry, the regional is going to be there. You're gonna have to use it. If you're lucky, you might be able to go around it. But what are some of the things, a list of things people can expect, going into the regional that you think are some bullshit? For example, commuting. So what do you think are some of the few things that you had to deal with when you were there?
So I had to commute a lot, and I remember when I left the regional, to my job now, where they have home basing, so they fly me to wherever I need to go. But I remember I used to have, even after I got furloughed, I used to have nightmares, like literally nightmares. I'd wake up like, well, how am I going to get to work?
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, man.
What flight am I going to get on? It'll add a few years to your life trying to get to work.
Absolutely.
Because you got to ride standby. You know what I mean? So it's commuting. Yeah, it's if you can, don't commute. Live in base if you can.
Yeah.
But as far as like regionals, it's the way I kind of see it is too, just like you got to keep your nose clean. You got to watch your back all the time. You can't let your guard down. Because in the end of the day, the buck stops with you, even if you're in the right seat. Because there's been situations where I was left hung out to dry, by my own airline, if they figure out they've made a mistake with rest requirements or something with maintenance, whatever, something they didn't do, they're going to go to they'll already be on the phone with the FAA before you even land at where your destination.
Oh, interesting.
Self-disclose that they made a mistake. Yeah. Then now you got to fill out the ASAP form, which is, it's kind of like, like, okay, this is what I did, FAA.
Yeah.
Please take mercy, have mercy on me, type deal. But you really got to watch your back and, cross your T's and dot your I's, and try to stay out of trouble too, especially on, not even just on the airplane, on overnights when you're going out. And if you like to drink and you're going to bars and stuff, don't do anything stupid. Cause I remember I've heard all types of crazy stories. I've heard stories of guys, a flight crew getting naked in the woods, Pinnacle back in the day when they were around, get naked and and the flight crew going to jail,
What the hell?
right? Or you hear about some of these guys. This one guy, he was okay. This is what I heard. I don't know if this is the real story, but pretty much he was what he told it. He was lured into this flight attendant's room because she asked for a massage. He gave her a massage, and then the next day he got a phone call from the chief pilot and was like, you're coming straight to headquarters to explain why you'd made a physical advance on the flight. Just all types of crazy stuff like that. I mean, you hear that happen. That happened when I was at airlines. Like you got that's like a time to keep your nose clean so you can get to where you really. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's funny.
So it was always watch your back. You know what I mean?
It was lured into her.
That's right.
It was lured into her.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the story has it. The story had it. He was, the lady was like, "Hey, can you massage my back hurts?" And the guy was like a dummy. He was like, "Sure." And he goes into this flight in this room, and he just, he gives her a massage or whatever, and all of a sudden, next day he's on the plane to headquarters to, defend himself.
Yep.
And that nowadays, especially with a lot of situations like this, you're guilty until proven innocent.
Absolutely.
And you got to, and a lot of these airlines, they'll fire you. They'll force you into resignation rather than try to deal with it, or try to have you fight to get your job back, because they could be possibly facing, lawsuits from the other party, so you really don't want to find yourself in these situations in which, you're fighting to keep your job, because even if let's say you get interviewed somewhere else, you're going to have to explain it, and you have to explain why you did it and what you learned from it. And it's be pretty embarrassing, to say, like, yeah, I went in the flight attendant's room and gave her a massage, and you're saying this in an interview somewhere, and you got to explain, you got to explain yourself why you got fired, and that there could kill your chances of getting rehired. So it's,
absolutely.
You definitely got.
Yeah, that's funny.
Now, my biggest advice is just, watch, watch where you step, do your job, go home, and just watch your back. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's pretty funny. Yeah. 777. How's that aircraft?
The Cadillac of the skies, man. I'll tell you, I never saw my dream as a kid was always to fly the 747.
Yeah.
All right, that was my thing. I wanted to fly Queen of the Skies, right? I wanted to fly that 747-400 International. Fly some cargo or whatever. If you're flying passengers, cargo or whatever. I wanted to fly it. And I got offered this when I got hired at this airline. I either had the option either 76 or the 777. And I was like, well, okay, I'll take the 777. It was something like, okay, 777 is nicer than the 76, from my understanding. So I was like, well, okay, I'll take the 777. But it's a nice airplane. That airplane is so easy to fly.
Oh yeah. Well, what is it comparing it to the 175? Are there anything?
So they say that depending on who you talk to, they'll say the 175 is more advanced than the 777.
Oh really?
Yeah, granted though, the 175 was engineered by ex-Boeing and Airbus engineers.
True.
So, so there are some similarities as far as automation goes. I'd say that the 175 probably has more like features, like more information features than say the 777 does. But the 777's got a TAC, which is thrust symmetry compensator. So if you lose the engine, it automatically inputs the rudder for you.
Oh really? Nice.
Yeah, so it's like you already know like what we go through our our multi-engine training. We learn dead foot, dead engine. And there it's like it tells you. It's like okay, you're like it move. You feel it moving in your feet.
Oh really?
So you feel the pedals moving and everything. You're like, oh okay, it looks like like I lost the engine or something like that. There's some type of thrust differential there. So I mean that has it. It doesn't have that on the 175 and. Apparently, there's something called the aviator in the 777, and they say that's actually space shuttle technology. A lot of technology that was in the space shuttle is actually in the Boeing 777.
What is it like? What is it? What is that? What is it called?
Called the aviator. I think you guys on the 76 you guys call it. I think what the INS system, whatever it's called.
Oh, okay, yeah. Is it like a navigation system or what? It's a navigation.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a navigation system. Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, pretty much it just gathers all the data from your your sensors and whatnot. And it supplies us with the information. But yeah, Yeah, it's a highly advanced plane. And think about it, this airplane came out in 1995.
Yeah, yeah, man. I know it's.
Yeah.
I mean, even the 76, the 76 are relatively. I mean, it was 1980, 82, 81, whatever it came out, something like that. I believe it was like the first. It's the first kind of the first generation of upscale automation. I believe was when they first really kind of started having the plane think for you. I believe, but 1980s technology and that plane. I mean, it's very, even though it's vintage, it's very relatively still sophisticated. I mean, it can auto land.
Right.
I mean, a 1980 technology and it can freaking auto land. A seven.
I was thinking that the 170, 175 you couldn't auto land. I mean, I think it's maybe a feature they could buy. I think, or maybe it came on the 195, but the 170, 175 didn't have auto land. At least the ones I absolutely didn't.
They didn't. No.
Mm-hmm.
So cool, man. Yeah. So what else is going on? I know you. I've noticed you've lost a bunch of weight. Another thing, people in the, whether you're as you move forward into the industry, or if you're just an aviation enthusiast, there's always a lot of it's never ends. It never ends when it comes to pilots in our career and things we need to do. There's always a training event that we got to go to. There's always something that needs to be done. As you get older, it gets tightened. They tighten up on you. For example, every year we do a medical exam. To get a medical certification that says you're healthy enough to go in there and fly passengers or whatnot. And it's getting even more, restrictive. So I remember you telling me there's something you had to do because there's a point where I don't know if you said you were getting concerned about that. If you want to put that in the podcast, I'll say it that way. But if you want to talk about that, what's up with that?
Yeah. So I had put on a little bit of weight from about 2015. As far as as far as as I got older, our metabolism slows down. And it just, even the whole lifestyle of being an airline pilot is, it's not conducive to a healthy living, because you get out, say you park the airplane at a gate, you get out and, man, I'm hungry. And you look to your right, there's Popeyes, you look to your left, and, all you just have is garbage for food. And you're like, well, I'm hungry. So you go to Popeyes and get a 3-piece meal, fried chicken and all that. And you eat it on the airplane or whatever. And it just, you go to the overnight, and then now you're like, hey, someone's like, hey, want to go out for a drink? So you go out and drink beer and you're having chicken wings again or a big hamburger. So all that compounding, right? Yeah. If you're not taking care of yourself, I mean, your weight will get away from you. Like from me, my weight got away from me. I couldn't even tell you from where it started. I could tell you where it ended, but I couldn't tell you I couldn't tell you the progression. Yeah. I just, woke up one day and I'm like, holy crap, and it actually, for me, my holy crap moment is when I went for my FAA medical renewal. And I stepped on the scale and I was about 199 pounds. I'm only 5'7". And the guy looks at me like, well, he goes, he says, you're fine now, but you gain any more weight based off of your height, I'm going to have to recommend you for sleep apnea system. And even if I'm sure that's probably debatable if I got to that point in which I actually needed it. But the last thing you need is want to go in for a medical and the guy says, well, I can't give it to you. Then you're in trouble. Man, yeah. Then you got to deal with the FAA. Then, and it just,
there goes your job.
I know guys. Yep. I've known guys that lost their medicals and they were out a whole year, fighting to get their medicals back and they can't fly, without a medical.
Let's see.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was kind of just like a wake up call for me. And it's like, man, I was like, I think at the time I was maybe 35. No, I was 35 at the time. I was like, well, I could still physically move. There's nothing wrong with me necessarily physically. Yeah, I'm overweight. I'm low level obese, but I was like, if I can help it, I'm not going to just give in to being overweight. Because you see a lot of pilots, a lot of guys we see on the line that you're like, man, like how are you even getting in the flight deck? Like how are you getting out? It's like if you're getting an accident, you got to go out the window. You're going to burn alive, because you're not making it out that window,
Yeah, man.
There's a lot of guys you see like that, and you're like, and you see him walking in the terminal, and you're like, man, that guy's is he gonna make it to the gate?
Yeah. Well, it's easy, like you said, it's easy. I cut you off, but with man, nowadays that if you're in a crew, they serve you all these freaking food. It just almost feels like you're always eating. You're sitting down, especially when you're doing long flights. You're sitting down for 10 hours or whatever. Just eating for 10 hours,
Yeah, you're really, it's a sedentary lifestyle, and then you get to the overnight somewhere, like like you get to Ireland or whatever, and then they're very they're very catering to our crews, and so 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning you land there and they're opening the bar, like, yeah, and people are like, hey, let's drink until breakfast, so you go down there and you have beer with them, and then you go have breakfast, which has no healthy options whatsoever, and then you go into sleep.
Yeah.
So you got beer and trashy food in your gut.
Yeah.
And you go to bed and your body just absorbs all that stuff.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's a tough. It's a definitely a different lifestyle because it's really hard. Even if you're doing a regular, I've noticed as well. Back when I was back in the regionals, a relatively regular schedule where you're actually flying in the daytime, you're done. Even then, it's tough to try and eat healthy for some reason because you're tired, you're sleeping the day, you're up in the night, and then you're hungry, you go eat. It's yeah, man. So what happened? So you were able to lose the weight or what? How much did you lose?
Yeah, so I lost about a total of 30 pounds.
30 pounds?
Wow. Yeah, 30. Yeah, I lost about 30 pounds in the span of maybe about. It was September, October, November, December, January. About the span of 5 months, I was able to get down 30 pounds, and I did a lot of that. Of course, was dieting. And I had to learn that actually not everything that's healthy is actually necessarily conducive to weight loss at all, or keeping off weight rather. There's some things I had to learn there. Then, the exercise, had to change my exercise routine, and also supplementing as well. As we get older, 35 and early 30s, your body slows way down, and then you got to supplement to, take supplements to counteract that slowing of your metabolism, So that's kind of what I had to do, and take, fat burners and all that other stuff. And, I was finally able to, knock off a lot of that weight, Then
man.
Then the thing is, then you just got to maintain it. I mean, it really would, for me, was just a whole lifestyle change altogether.
Would you just take out sugar or what? So do you still do sugar?
So a lot of it was just fast food. I was addicted to fries. You give me some French fries or fried chicken or anything fried, fried bread, fried anything. I was eating it. Then I used to drink a lot of sodas.
Yeah.
You look at a soda, 30-something grams of sugar. It just, I was overloading my body. Excuse my French, with bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I had to cut a lot of stuff I had pleasure in eating. I had to cut it out. And it's just, I mean, still I have my cheat meal once a week, right? But I just had to cut a lot of that out. Carbs, learn what's good for you, what's bad for you, and and alcohol and all that stuff. It just
man.
It just a whole lifestyle change. I had to, the whole, hey, let's have a drink before breakfast. You had to kind of tell your crew, like, nah, I'm okay. Not giving the peer pressure, because they say, hey man, come on, have a drink, man. And it's man.
Yeah.
It's the whole lifestyle and way of thinking altogether.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. God, that's my thing I had to get used to. I've always been, I go up and down, there was a time when I was definitely, I was like, man, I definitely need to start getting back in the gym. And you're right, it's not as easy as it used to be. There's a time when I could go in and pump weights, and it's like, whoo, one day, and I can see the difference. Now it's like, god damn, and even now, like I went to the gym this morning, and I work out probably every day. And I realized that I had to pick it up a notch, because it's like I realized that the level I'm at is just not doing what I wanted to do. So yeah, man, I get what you're saying. Yeah, crazy stuff.
And even what me and you do, we do a lot of international back of the clock flying. We're changing,
time zones,
date lines, and time zones and all that other stuff. So even rest, like we're always beat. The thing is that we got to get the necessary rest, and if we're not getting it, then even that slows down our our fat burn or our gains.
Yeah.
Per se. I feel it when I go over. Like I was in Bulgaria recently, and I'm my body. I'm trying to acclimate myself to trying to sleep. Doing a lot of day sleeping and being up all night, and just that alone just wreaks havoc on your body. And I feel it. I feel it, and I notice it in my training. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not getting the gains I need to. Like it's to really, especially at our age, man, is to really stay in shape and maintain it,
Yeah.
you got to have a routine.
Yeah.
And what we do as pilots, is like for at least 16, 17, 18 days, our routine is all thrown out the window. We can't have
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I've done, I've figured out. It just. So this is it's what I do, because I realize there's really nothing you can really control, especially with this profession. So I go to sleep when I'm tired, because I can do that. So I don't really try and maintain the day and night stuff. And then as soon as I wake up, I go to the gym. So that's my routine. So I don't care what it is and where I'm at. If I'm sleeping, if I'm tired, I'm going to sleep. As soon as I wake up, I'm going to the gym. So it could be at night, it could be day. Yeah. So that's how I've kind of been able to at least try and maintain a certain level. If not, man, it gets away from me so quick. All of a sudden I gain it's so frustrating. But yeah, man.
It's funny. It's hard to lose at our age, but it's for our bodies to do well. It's hard, but it's like it's easier for us to regress. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude, it's crazy. It takes nothing.
Yeah. To progress is difficult. To regress,
yeah. All right, man. Parasha, it was good talking to you, my friend. One of these days, come by. Come by and come sit in the studio. Sit down. If you look, it's a nice little wine bar back there. You can sit down and have
I'm looking at that right now. Let me share that bottle with you.
Sit back, relax. We'll talk. Maybe we can go up on a flight. I rent a Sirius or whatever. We'll go golfing or whatever, man. But yeah, come by. Be good. Maybe you can come by and you can also be an alternate guest. You can come in and be the guy asking the questions to whoever show up. But yeah,
sure.
Yeah, it was nice having you, man. Good talk.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me, and definitely take you up on your offer. Come down there, down to Arizona, and sit in with you in the studio.
Yeah, man.
Share that bottle over there. Get that bottle going. You probably get some more interesting stories out of me too. Maybe I'll remember some.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, you're more than welcome. Just let me know, and we can definitely coordinate whatever, and we'll get that done. So.
Sure.
Cool, man. All right, Parish. Have a good day. Stay safe. We'll see you on the road. Too bad we can't talk more about the big O, but it's okay.
Yeah. I just did that PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
The whole training about full speed and all that stuff. So.
No big deal.
Yeah.
All right, brother. We'll talk later, man.
All right, brother.
See ya.
All right.
Peace.
Thanks for having me.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your captain speaking. Apply heading 230. Runway 27 left. Clear for takeoff.